Welcome to the grand finals of the OSC Championship. Season 8 is in the top left side of the map. Our Red Cross player is ShoWTimE from Big Clan. He starts a game down in this best of 7 because he came from the lower bracket as he takes on Blue Terran, bottom right hand side, Clem, who is up 1-0 because he came from the winner bracket. He had a good run through the winner bracket. ShoWTimE an epic run in the lower bracket, though. Again, cannot say enough what he has been able to do in the lower bracket of this event to go through so many amazing players. I mean, he went through 9 rounds of the lower bracket. After winning out in his group stage, you start in the lower bracket, you go through 9 rounds, just incredible stuff. And he was only brought to 5 games once, and that was by Solar. Obviously, Clem started in the winner bracket because he had enough OSC points to do so. And he went through players such as Mana and especially Cure. That 3-2 series was absolutely fantastic. Go watch that one if you didn't already. It was truly one to watch. So these two have just had a hell of a tournament, and it just feels right to see them. I was talking a bit about this in the ShoWTimE Champ series, but was looking ahead. And when you look at the stats of these two, in 2020, they played 22 times in 2020. And it was 15-7 in favor of Clem, but I think this is the really cool thing. It was only 52-40 in maps to Clem. Now, that means that every single time that these guys play, there's a lot, and I really mean a lot, of very close series, right? There's a lot of 3-2s, there's a lot of 2-1s. The games that these guys play are really quite epic oftentimes. I mean, one of the highlights of ShoWTimE Clem for me last year, I mean, outside of all the Open Cups they played awesome games in, was the WardiTV Spring Championship. And I remember it was the group stages, and they played on Eternal Empire, and Clem decided to play Mech, and ShoWTimE went into Carrier Disruptor, and it was just a 40-minute epic game. Complete ridiculous showdown of just macro craziness around the map. And these two really do just deliver when they play against each other. They really match up very well. They really do match up very, very well with each other is just the fact of the matter. So let's see how we go, guys. SCV gets denied on the bunker, and the Adept is shading around, trying to catch this Reaper a little bit early in the game. So a little bit of back and forth there with the Reaper. The Adept is going to try and shade out on top of it, going to try and get the catch, as it is going to cancel the shade, and Reaper, for the moment, will get away. So now the Reaper comes back in, and the Adept takes a shot. Again, bit of back and forth here so far. And just going to be seeing the double Reaper opening. It's actually a little bit more pressure than usual. And with the bunker, well underway, if the double Reaper had got into there, that would have been problematic. Now one Reaper should die, as the Adept will not commit, though, because it's low HP. And I guess the Reaper had regened enough to survive one hit anyway, and that's why you don't commit for it. So it's almost a bait. Clem's like sitting the Reaper still. He's like, actually, I want you to go forward with your Adept right now. Make the mistake, ShoWTimE. Go on, I dare you. Second probe goes down as well. Just going to be seeing the Adept still coming through. The Sentry coming in as well. And a little bit of back and forth. 4 probes going down. Going to make that 5. So 5 workers going down right now. Just going to be seeing the hallucination coming back up into the top side. 6 workers going down. We're going to be seeing a little bop, and a Reaper will fall. Man, this is ridiculous. Why is Clem just killing 6 workers, guys? What the hell is this? I know he built 2 Reapers, but come on, it's ShoWTimE. He doesn't lose 6 workers. Okay, that's a crazy start. Now the Hellion almost threatens to just drive by to get even more damage done. As we're going to be seeing, our Blink is about halfway up on the Twilight Council. Raven coming through on the main base. Couple of extra racks coming in. And just going to be seeing a Tech Lab setting up as well. So Tech Lab on the factory, Raven on the way out. And the Banshee getting the Cloak up and running. So, I mean, getting Cloak but building a Raven. We'll see if he actually commits to Cloak or if this is just a fake out, depending on the scout of ShoWTimE. I mean, ShoWTimE, his scouting is limited right now, and he hasn't sent a hallucination across the map yet. So he's blind, which almost makes me feel like it's kind of weird. You don't see people faking stuff against Protoss players like a lot of the time, because the majority of their scouting comes in not just once, but like a second time over. Once they start scouting, they keep scouting. So it's quite difficult to fake stuff. He is going to cancel a Cloak, so it was just there just in case. It's just the Raven into Tech Labs for the barracks. And that's obviously going to line us up into some upgrades. And the Raven there then to help Clem with the push a bit later on. Already killing 6 probes really, to me, puts Clem in a position where I think he's just going to get put in, to me, I think he's just going to get into a position where I think he's going to get across the map and maybe really kind of just force ShoWTimE into at least give him the third base, because you killed so many probes early. That's a huge disadvantage. You know, ShoWTimE not just killing those probes, but workers running around. You know, just the harassment being dealt with in general has slowed ShoWTimE down. I kind of like ShoWTimE just going to stay on 2 gases. He's just going to add on extra gates and go charge. I like this. I mean, if there's one way to really stop Clem from being successful on attacking across the map after this opener, it's probably going to be in the form of a lot of units. Rather than trying to tech up and be fancy and all of that, this is much more likely to be a as the Stalker blinks in for the Hellion, much more likely to be just more successful with just a massive gateway unit. So that's what we're starting to see right now. ShoWTimE bringing units out over the right-hand side. Group of Stalkers moving over here, and just going to be seeing a few Marines of Clem. Marauders as well, all setting up around the right. A few Stalkers starting to press on in, and the Marines are going to fight this back. Stalkers blinking away from this. That's going to be seeing our Immortal about to pop out of the Robo facility. So getting that out in a moment or two. A couple of extra racks of Clem still building in the natural expansion. And here comes that Prism into the main with the couple of Zealots involved. They're going to get down and going to start charging in for a few of these SCVs. So a couple of workers already going down. 3 SCVs killed already. A Marauder and a few Marines coming in too. That's 6 workers killed off already. And now, I mean, extra Zealots coming in too. Remember, that's a lot of your warpins used across the map though. As Clem pushes forward, Zealots are going to jump on this right away. Force fields go down. They actually do catch a couple units initially. The tank goes down. The Immortal gets eaten up. Its barrier eaten up pretty much immediately, though. He actually got splashed onto by the Widow Mine. Clem loses 18 SCVs, and he's going to have to change up the direction of attack because he's not breaking the third base, at least. It's out over to the left, going to go and load into the main base. And he's going to push on through to go for all of these probes. The recall into the main base, and obviously the couple of probes already going down. And he's actually going to get himself the Immortal here, so that's a good catch. 14 workers behind. I mean, he gets a third CC up, so he can start to play a bit of catch-up. I mean, as he's killed a few probes, it's actually not that bad, right? 12 workers is somewhat manageable. It means that ShoWTimE had a blip of mining that much more, but of course, you can also argue that ShoWTimE's overall composition here is not great as Clem continues to build up. Problem is, this Warp Prism was never shut down, so the Prism is still going to be a problem as well. As the Zealots come down the right side, they're going to drop into the main base in just a few moments. A couple of SCVs are going to move through, and Zealots are going to again charge in. Go straight in after these SCVs. So 3 SCVs already going down, make that 4. 5, 6... 6 workers killed, and now just going to go in for a moment or two onto a tech lab. And the Zealot's just going to lift up once again, and the Prism will escape away up the right-hand side. Marines trying to corner that Prism out, and I mean, you really just don't want to let it do anything else here. ShoWTimE taking a pretty serious supply lead off all of this, as now he's going to start moving through the middle of the map. ShoWTimE still just 2 gases, by the way, so again, trying to play catch-up, and it's one of the ways you can do it just by not taking all your gases, not taking up super heavily. It means you reach your kind of maximum probe count or saturated probe count more quickly, and then it goes, you know, then you go all out into army. But again, it doesn't work well for you the longer the game goes on typically, so this is very much so a case of do as much as you can right now as ShoWTimE, and that's why he's trying to get aggressive, moving across the map. You can see how well this fight went for Clem, though. +1 attack against no upgrades of ShoWTimE, and ShoWTimE is gonna not quite get those units. Nice pickup from Clem. And the Zealots got massacred. What I really loved was this Widow Mine here actually got off onto the group of Zealots here. It didn't hit the first Zealot, it went into the center. And by going into the center of the Zealots, it really softened a lot of them up, took the shields away, and allowing that +1 attack upgrade to really shred through the rest of the Zealots there. Another good Widow Mine to start off as Clem continues to have to pull back. A Widow Mine this time is actually going to also get burrowed up. I mean, these Immortals are going to be kind of vulnerable once the Zealots go down. A few SCVs pulling in. Clem just needs a little bit help to survive. He's now 1-1 against 0-0. Eats a Widow Mine shot onto the front of his bio. Next Widow Mine shot is actually huge. It gets rid of the shields on the Immortal. And this kind of continues back and forth for the moment. The Robobay on the way up. The couple of Zealots still charging in for extra SCVs. More Zealots will warp in from ShoWTimE here. A lot of SCVs going down. Zealots still charging through. Another Widow Mine shot hits the Zealots. And these Zealots continue to be picked away at as we go back and forth. More Zealots going down. 13 workers killed. I still feel like Clem's going to overwhelm on Army, though. He's going to get the Prism, or at least he's going to try to, but he's running out of Marines. Did he get it? I mean, he got the Prism, but did he stop the warp in? Kinda? I think he stopped one of the 5 Zealots that were warping in there. The problem is now you can't warp in any further from ShoWTimE, right? That's the bigger issue. And you also don't have the micro to save Immortals or anything. So as Clem moves forward, there goes one of them taken down immediately. ShoWTimE will use the Zealots to help create a pathway to get out of there. He did tech up behind all of this, by the way. He took an extra gas, and now he's already on the way to his first Disruptor. As the Immortals go down, though, and he really did just lose everything in this army bar. These 3 Stalkers. That was always going to be one of the issues toward the end of, or toward the latter half of this fight. And it absolutely has been something which Clem capitalized on in the last few minutes. Liberator on the way up, extra mines, Marauders and Marines all continuing through as well. The rest of this from Clem continues to set up at the front as Azel's going to go out around the right side. A Nexus of ShoWTimE on the front as well. Getting that ready to go as 1-1 upgrades, Disruptors all producing. We do see the Ghost Academy from Clem. Clem up 30 army supply now. You might be thinking, well, why was ShoWTimE attacking him? But it really was just a case of if he didn't do something soon, Clem was only going to get into a larger and better army. And so the choices were, was ShoWTimE going to start teching up and kind of playing away from what his initial style was meant to be? Or was he going to try and take advantage of his style? Well, obviously you take advantage of what you're playing right here in the moment. Because if you stop to try and start teching up, then why were you on 2 gases this entire time anyway? Then your tech's still late, and it still gives Clem time to build up and take advantage of late tech. So ShoWTimE kind of did need to make something, make a play happen, and he did go for it. As our Bio army presses forwards, the Liberator comes out to the side. Disruptor shot will fire through, and the Bio just going to get up to the high ground here, going to go in after these Stalkers, after these Zealots. I mean, the Disruptor's obviously the scary part of this, and Clem is, I think, responding to it well. He's already on his way to just, well, again, especially the Ghosts, I think, are going to be fantastic here. The Liberators to help zone or harass could be great, too. There's already 1 Lib, I believe, on the right-hand side. He dives forward against the Disruptor. Next Disruptors do not connect that well. Now the Disruptor's all on cooldown, so Clem can re-engage in. The Liberator cleaned out to the right now. Next step of this is upgrades finish up from ShoWTimE. He plays a bit of catch-up. That's actually huge because Clem didn't start 2-2, putting his money instead into Ghosts and Libs. Maybe ShoWTimE has a chance to take an upgrade lead here in a little while. +2 armor already starting. Stalker's going to start fighting into this. Disruptor shot. Just 1 bio unit caught there. The Libs are going to be massive to really help zone out the Protoss player a little bit and just stop units moving around as easily, especially if you zone from this left-hand side. Maybe gives you a chance to really make a play on this base. EMP goes down on the Stalkers. Might need one on the Zealots. Widowmine's doing well on the Zealots, though, to begin with, but the Disruptor finds the rest of the Ghosts. Oh, the second Disruptor shot is big as well. Lands on Marauders. Widowmine's going to land on the Disruptors, though, and they're going to go down, blown up in sync. Okay, well, it was enough to slow Clem down. It was enough to push Clem back. And Clem might have to think about his own upgrades, by the way. I know he's just been kind of on 1-1. He is on the way to Armory, so he is actually thinking about 2-2. But boy, does he need to. It's just not been good enough until now. As Stalkers continue to blink around. Marines down the left side are starting to get away. Another Disruptor shot going to clip a couple of these Marines. He will deny the next Disruptor shot. I don't know if this is really enough bio to keep on fighting here. And he does stim off to the side and finds a fight against some Stalkers. The Stalkers blink in, and that is opportunity for Clem to capitalize. Resources lost 17,500 to 16,500. You can see the income is being swinging back and forth from either side as well. Clem just out the front. Zealot, Stalker, Disruptor. Up the high ground, and again, +2 armor working away on the Forge. +2 attacks about halfway done as well. The Bio army is going to move out to the left. And just going to be seeing the +2 armor going to be finishing in a few moments. Bio wants to start trying to press into this. Liberator to the far left-hand side, and it's going to be seeing a little EMP onto a couple of the Stalkers there. So that's continuing to take a bit of a beating. Disruptor shot lands for 1 Marauder. On the far right, we do see this Marine just nibbling away at the Nexus as we have got the Bio up to the top, going to grab a probe. I mean, Clem, I think, has still got the army supply lead, right? But it's difficult for him to really make use of it. And he's about to be down on upgrades too. So ShoWTimE finally turned the 1-1 deficit into a 2-2 to 1-1 lead. Oh, but he's out of position. Super Battery was going to heal the Nexus, so he had to dive for the battery. He cancels the warping, Clem, before he goes for the Nexus. Amazing decision-making on what to target here. However, Stalkers and Zealots jump on the rest of the bio. Clem will take some losses. I think it was worthwhile. He gets away with a fair amount. Well, Zealots are still chasing. Yeah, I mean, killing the base is massive, though, right? It was 16 minutes in, so the fourth base especially is one that really is a necessary base because it's just... it has a lot of the remaining mining left on it on the game, right? I mean, natural mining out, main base mined out. We do have bio on the bottom side. Zealots and Stalkers trying to run into this here. A couple Widow Mine shots to start up. Stalkers still blinking through. These Marauders going down. More Zealots charging into this, and the bio army showing up as well. Stalkers going to get picked away at. To the top right corner, Clem has a chunk of bio as well. Disruptors, Zealots, Stalkers all hanging out on the right-hand side here. Disruptors to clean up a mine, but then the bio shows up from the other side. We'll have to split, though. Couldn't just target fire the Disruptors there. Too many of them firing at once, but that means they're now all on cooldown. And so if these Zealots don't work out... yeah, if these Zealots don't work out, you're going to get caught. Now the Stalkers didn't get recalled. They're going to try and find a way to blink out of here. They do. Multiple Disruptors got killed, though. 2 of the 4, I believe. ShoWTimE denies the 5th base as this is going on. Oh boy, the first game of this finals is absolutely epic so far. 17 minutes, and I actually haven't really known who's been winning since like minute 2. I thought the 6 probe kills were pretty good from Clem, but boy, does that feel like an eternity ago now. Yeah, the first map that these two play against each other is pretty epic, as you do see the Zealot on the left side being cleaned out. SCV is going to get to mining on the right. And Clem's army still just pushing up top here as Stalker, Disruptor, Zealot all joins in together. The bio army goes and splits. Gonna go different directions once again. ShoWTimE is pretty committed to the right side. Might be under defending the left. That's a slow warp in. That pylon's too far away from the Nexus. An attempt to kill the Nexus again, but I think getting the shields is as much as you can really hope for right now. Is well, a few reinforcements ended up over here. I think problem is for ShoWTimE, if the Disruptors aren't landing, he's just not getting enough damage out from his army. And that seems to be a recurring theme at the moment, is he does start to clean up the left side. The right side in some trouble. 11 SCVs went down as Zealot run by, as the main base orbital has flown out and relocated to this 3 o'clock location. Wants to set up a bit of extra mining. Obviously, he lost the base bottom left. He's going to take that right side and the bottom left again. I don't mind it. It's definitely a scenario where you just want some extra mining as Clem, right? It's 80 minutes in game for him. His main is gone. His natural's mined. You got to start taking these other bases, otherwise you're in some serious trouble. Widow Mines are going to do the majority of the work on the lead into this harass, although a couple of extra Zealots weren't finished before Clem pulled away. He was desperate to get over here. He does dodge the first Disruptor shot. Second Disruptor shot misses everything as well. Third one, oh my god, only gets a mule. That's problematic because now these Disruptors are on cooldown. This is where Clem can push forward into the army very easily. And this is where you're going to see ShoWTimE just losing a bit too much. The Disruptor hits nothing again. 0 for 4 on Disruptor shots in that fight, and that's just the knife's edge that ShoWTimE was walking along. And unfortunately, he falls and slices himself because Disruptor's not connecting. Means he just isn't cleaning out enough. Clem takes the game. So we enter what we're going to call game 3 of this series, because Clem got a free win map 1 essentially because of the winner bracket advantage. In the top right, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. He's taking on the red Protoss in the bottom left-hand side. It's ShoWTimE. I mean, he played from kind of behind, right? So he played from behind and made it darn close. And I think at points was absolutely leading. The problem was that there was a stage of the game where it just became apparent that ShoWTimE had to switch it up, and he did. But he was always still kind of trailing a little bit, right? Like, he never properly stabilized. And because of that, he was always just on Zealot, Stalker, Disruptor. And at one point, we saw a couple Archons, but it was always just Zealot, Stalker, Disruptor for the most part. And that just doesn't do it in the long term. And that is the issue. That is the issue. Probe is going to take a little nibble from an SCV. Cybercore Nexus on the way up. Probe around to the right. Just going to be seeing our factory is setting up in the main. Command center is way down to the natural bunker setting up. And you just see the adept shading forward here from ShoWTimE. So heading on up to the top. Our bunker going to be finishing in a few moments time here from Clem, as our Marine picking away at the probe is going to get that kill, and the adept comes through, is able to pick the Marine off, and the SCV will go down as well. So an SCV gets picked off there. Command center not quite finishing, just going to be seeing a starport in the main base. SCV pops out the bunker, going to put some more time onto the CC, and the Marines and the hell he's right to. He can defend it. Nicely done. Job well done indeed. Alright, so job well done there. Twilight Council and the Robo back at home from ShoWTimE, so we are going to be seeing him just going into Robo before extra gate. We'll see if this turns into anything too aggressive with the blink, but I don't really think it should. That gate was pretty quick after the Robo. Obviously, gateway count is one of the big things you look at here initially to just see kind of what the plan is for the Protoss. 2 gates and expand is a very common way to go. Now you see 1 extra gas already. So that's the 3 gas setup that you oftentimes see for even just 3 base kind of Zealot Stalker establishments. Couple of SCVs on the way out. The tech lab building on the factory in the main base. Again, that up and running as well. As again, our blink just chrono boosting. And there's going to be 4 gas. He's going to stay on 2 bases. And he's going to go Robo Bay. To begin with here. So typically this is a Robo Bay and Colossus before you take a 3rd Nexus. So a little bit more tech heavy. And obviously Clem is going to realize no 3rd Nexus for a little while. He has his scout with these Hellions. He's also going to get a Widowmine Marine drop into the main, and we'll see if that pulls units back to give these Hellions a chance to move through. The Hellions are found by the Adepts though. That's okay because it means the Adepts aren't in position to help defend it all. See the Widowmines putting themselves in position to help push the Stalkers back as well. Probe gonna get shot down. Widowmine gets taken down as well. Robo Bay halfway done. And Medivac going up the left-hand side. We'll unload these Marines. Engineering Bay is on the way in the back of the main. So again, that up and running. Blink will finish up shortly. Okay. So yeah, now we see the 3rd Nexus coming down. So it wasn't like a massively delayed 3rd, but it's still a minute later than if you just go like 3 gas and so on. We'll see the Colossi building up early. So ShoWTimE just, I mean, pretty much as different a style as you can get from game number 1, while still going blink, right? So yeah, with the Robo Bay done, we're still waiting to see something come out of it. At some point here, ShoWTimE will start Colossus. And there it is. An extended thermal lance will be next on the line. At least you would imagine. Factory building the tech lab on the main base as well. We do see the reactor building on the starport, and oops, but what did 4 probes just die to? I guess I don't know what killed just 4 probes just there. Oh, did he just get double observer kill though? That's a mistake from ShoWTimE. Man, double observer is kind of huge because in fact he's killed 3 observers now in the game. So by killing 3 observers, you've basically completely nullified the map control. That's 225 gas that's just gone from the game. That was meant to just give you vision, and now you're playing blind. And look at how little you see. You see nothing around any of your bases, and that is genuinely a big issue, right? That is genuinely going to be problematic for ShoWTimE moving forward from this. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit tough, as we're going to be seeing our bio army of Clem starting to move out down to the bottom side. A command center on the low ground gets ready to go. It's already a huge amount of bio coming across. Now, again, the good news is you're going to have Colossus to help you defend this, but again, it's difficult. ShoWTimE using his Adept at least to provide some vision so he knows what's on the way. But this army just looks minuscule. Like, this barely looks like there's anything even here. As the two tanks obviously going to be big in this moment. If they can get some target fire on the Colossi, this is going to be extremely difficult to fight against. As our tanks do get sieged, the bio just sitting back with the tanks and actually just load up the medevac's. Again, lack of vision, so you've got no idea this is happening in ShoWTimE. You've got no heads up until it hits your main base. And at that point, what you're going to do, recall into the main could be an option. He has to split the army, essentially, but Clem is just going to unload and kind of control the ramp. New Colossus just popped out. He's going to maybe find a chance to jump on it. That Colossus really showed up at the right time. He tried to dive over here as well, but ShoWTimE kept a good amount of units back, and for the moment, I'm going to say it's okay, but now these units actually get to advance further forwards, and so they actually get on top of this Nexus. That's obviously going to be more of an issue than anything else. And now with the spread, the one Colossus is just not doing that much damage. So, yeah, the sentries are fortunate to survive as well, I would say. The bio pulls back to protect the tank, or at least try to. The tank will go down. I mean, 3 Colossi is meant to be the magic number, but if Clem can keep on moving around like this and catching units, I mean, the problem is now these Colossi still aren't really protected properly. That's the pylon in the natural that goes down. 2 of the gateways will be unpowered. And again, now you're splitting the Colossi up and you can maybe get more done with this. You can see the Stalkers will commit for the medevac. And they get rid of all of them. So at least it stops further drops. It stops these Marines from getting away. As he loses 4 or 5 probes. Okay. I mean, the big thing is at least he keeps the Colossi alive. I did think there was a moment there you're going to maybe lose at least one of them, but overall, ShoWTimE defends, and Clem has to back away from this. Down a few workers, but nothing out of his reach with mules. In fact, the income should be pretty even, if not Clem favored. It spikes towards Clem now as he gets the 3rd base mining, so he only just got the 3rd base up and running. And otherwise, Clem's army supply is looking good. As ShoWTimE, his next play is the Templar Archives. So his idea now is he's hit kind of the initial wave of splash damage. What's interesting is that he just doesn't go into disruptors. A lot of people nowadays, they really like to go from Colossi into disruptors. You already have the tech down on the map to do that. The Robo Bay is already right there. The Temple Archives is just an extra investment you have to make and all of that, so hallucination scouts around. A couple of Marines putting some damage out. The hallucination push back down the bottom side. And the Prism going to move up the right and toward the main base as well. Vikings, armor upgrade. All on the way. Zealots are going to start charging in, and that's going to be a few SCVs going down as that bio army comes through. Another Zealot picked off. Vikings going to force the Prism to recall at least, so while you don't get the kill on it, it's still okay because you've at least stopped the Prism from being active on the map for a while. And you want to know how effective those observer kills are early. There's still no observers on the map, so that's how big the observer kills are earlier. The Robos have never had a chance to catch back up and get the time to just rebuild observers. So Clem clearing those observers early in the game has had an impact all the way throughout, and it's probably a big reason he gets to this left side now and kills off this Nexus without ShoWTimE even being competitive nearby. Now we have tank siege in the center. This is going to be a fight. ShoWTimE's going to go for it. The tanks, I would imagine, are going to target fire down Colossi. They are. First Colossus went down very quickly. The Vikings doing what they can. One Viking in the back here. Looked like it might die for the Prism. Doesn't get there, though. 2 of the Colossi are saved, but there's still a good amount of tanks, and the bio kind of collapsing in on this as the Concave comes on through. Clem has got just so many units still remaining, but the Protoss Micro is good with the War Prism to help buy a bit more time. Boy, are some of these units low. An Immortal on low HP, 2 Colossi on very low HP. If those units had gone down, that's basically like, what, like a 20 supply swing? So keeping these few units alive, that's massive, and that's thanks to the Prism. That was maybe just a Viking shot away from actually being picked off, but the Viking went down at the last moment. And so the Prism was able to survive. Oh, these engagements are being fought, as I said earlier, but on a knife's edge. Both players are just in extremely dangerous territory. Every time a fight happens, it's just like a small micro mistake away, or a small micro advantage away from being a completely different swing to the other guy. Well, ShoWTimE wants to move up towards the top here. The tanks well set defensively for the moment. Both players around 80, 90 army supplies, so the numbers are looking even. Clem is not is now going to move in toward Ghost, so he's going to start adding that. Obviously, he delayed a lot of his tech so far to just play so tank heavy. But now deciding Vikings might be a good idea. Just as the game goes by, generally tanks are very good against like lower numbers of Protoss, but against the larger armies, tanks just do not scale as well, basically. So you want to start moving into Ghosts, you want to start moving into Vikings, and just a little bit more kind of bio focus only, and sometimes Widow Mines as well on the ground still if you want to add factory production in still, but Viking Ghost is just the go-to. He still is building an extra tank, and that might just be because Clem feels like right now he might just have to stay on the defensive. Plus, I'm just going to open up the map a little bit, taking down these rocks. Zealots are going to start charge forward. An engineering bay to the left. First tank going down. The rest of the Zealots going to jump in on top of this. Tanks going down altogether. Vikings are starting to fight. I mean, it feels like a good start for ShoWTimE up on the top. Feels like he was winning that fight. Down the south, Clem is pulling away. His supply is still fairly even, but does he have a way to keep this going? The Marauders against Zealots are just not going to be that good. He's going to get picked off. He got rid of the splash damage, got rid of the Colossi, but he didn't have anything behind it. ShoWTimE is going to get a map back on the board. Get number, well, 4, I suppose, as we go into this. Clem up 2-1, but only because he got to start with the 1-0 advantage. They both won a map here in actual gameplay. Blue Terran top left, Clem. Red Protoss bottom right, ShoWTimE. Different approach in that last game, and it worked out. He took some really good fights to deny Clem's attacks and to keep Clem on the back foot and to keep Clem pushed away. A job well done, as we see the probe just moving up through the center. Just gonna see our probe coming in. Just gonna see our depot taking a nibble, and SCV is gonna fight back. Marine on the way out, and just gonna be seeing the Cyber Core coming up from ShoWTimE in the natural as we will build a Nexus. And yeah, so far so good. Nexus coming up, orbital on the way. A couple of SCVs fighting this probe, which runs around here on the natural already. Factory is just building up from Clem, just proxied up, so he's really going to mix this up a little bit for game number 4 of this right now. Really going on the offensive on the bottom side. Warp Gate coming through from ShoWTimE, and it's an Adept to pop out in a moment or so. So one Adept out, second Adept now chrono boosting. As our first Adept will make its way out to the upper left-hand side. Step shows up. SCV is going to go down, make that a second SCV. We do have the starport building on the 6 o'clock location, so a couple of SCVs going down. I mean, everything just proxied here, right? Is this going to become a Hellion drop? The one thing you're going to start realizing here in a moment from ShoWTimE is like, hey, where is the Hellion? Where are the units that are meant to make this an easier defense for the Terran? Why is he having such a tough time? Why is this taking him so long to actually finish? Nice play with the SCV. Keeping it on this side is going to be able to get the command center to finish. So that's cute. He actually stopped it from building for a moment when it was about to run over to the other side there. And I think these Adepts are realizing something is up, man. They're like, not really too happy about my lack of information. Nothing is in the main base yet, though, right? And there's a lot of dead air space or dead vision space. That's what this pylon will look to fix. Pylon doesn't provide you with perfect vision right away, though, right? I mean, there's still a lot of space you can drop in as Clem to have all 3 Hellions unloaded to begin this. The factory going to instantly load up and go away. Man, the Adepts are on the map again. This is really bad because you don't actually have... You have enough energy for 1 recall. But that's a recall on the natural, not even in the main. So it doesn't even matter where the Hellions drop. They're going to run in the main. No response from ShoWTimE. Probes are going to start dropping. Hellions will one-shot. What? Clem? What are you doing? Oh my god, Clem just messed up big time. He just missed like 3 or 4 shots of damage because he's across the map fighting Adepts, I suppose. He really misclicked that big time. He missed so many opportunities, so I think he missed at least 2 shots he could have fired. And then when he did fire, because the Hellions were dropping out of the medevac, they were out of sync. So they didn't even get damage done to kill workers because of the shield battery. He's still going to kill 10 workers. He's lost 7 SCVs to the Adept harassment. He gets 12 probes in the end, but that's a big mistake from Clem. That costs him what could have been an entire mineral line, I think. With how out of position ShoWTimE was and how underprepared. Of course, that's the benefit of ShoWTimE having gone across the map and killed SCVs. A, it brings the SCV count or the worker count closer together despite the damage done. And B, it distracted Clem so that it wasn't as much damage done from Clem anyway as well. So the Adepts actually worked out well. I was worried about them being on the map. ShoWTimE's looking for the proxy, but the proxy is long gone. It's back home already. It's already back home. As you do see our factory going to land and start to build a tech lab. Starport is going to build a medevac. ShoWTimE will bring this set of units out up the top side here. Robo Bay is starting in the main base of ShoWTimE. Depth will shade through toward the natural. Stalkers will look toward the main base. Stalker's going to blink up. A few Marines are being picked away at. Bring it down to the low ground. Stalker's coming back down. Marine's going to go fighting against this here. RoboBay is going to be finishing up soon. You see just an extra couple of Stalkers just warping in, and ShoWTimE can now make his way around the front. So ShoWTimE going to put some pressure on at the front here. Combat shield stim on the way up. So ShoWTimE is going to start splitting up a bit of pressure around the map. He's on his way to his Colossi. So yeah, Rill will be stabilizing here. Both players just kind of stabilizing. The only thing for ShoWTimE is the third base is really late. Obviously, lose some workers early. That's always going to slow the third base down. As Clem gets up, and obviously the Stalkers are long gone by the time he gets there. So extra medevacs just on the way out, and just going to be seeing the extra gateways building from ShoWTimE as well. It's a lot of setup, isn't it? Now we'll see what the Bio Army does. As Stim finishes, it would be surprising if Clem didn't make something of a move onto the map. So he will sort of head down on the left-hand side. The Stalkers are just going to move over here, and they will spot it. So ShoWTimE is going to start picking away at units. Clem is going to Stim to force the blink back immediately. ShoWTimE going to bring a Prism up around the top side of this. Stalker's blinking back. Good blink backs from ShoWTimE. Obviously, he wants to try and pick up a couple more of these Marines or so. Probes transferring down toward the natural, and just going to be seeing the Colossus starting to move forward. A really nice play with the Stalkers. Loving it so far, but he blinks back into a Widow Mine. Oh, whoa. ShoWTimE playing a dangerous game, but he gets away with it. So ShoWTimE making it work, and now a couple Colossi. Trying to see what's going on. Just going to be seeing the +1 attack upgrades. Going to be finishing up in a few moments' time. The Prism up on the top. Colossi firing, and you're just going to be seeing the gateways. Going through. Marauder's going to hit the probes. Okay, just going to be seeing the Zealots coming in from the left-hand side. The Zealots kind of get blown up pretty quickly. The tanks putting some damage out. The Colossi are still big damage dealers here. And the rest of this moving back over to the right, and just going to be seeing the army of ShoWTimE looking to try and jump in on this. Marauders trying to come through. Clem's got a hell of a position. I mean, the Colossus count is good, but the tanks in a position like this will always be difficult to break out of. Prism's going to come from the other side. Set up the flanking move. Will it be enough from ShoWTimE? ShoWTimE can't sit here forever, right? I mean, the Nexus will eventually go down, so you got to do something. He's on his way to Forges and looking forward upgrades. The Prism actually gets shot back, so even the Zealots on the flank are going to come in pretty slow for those tanks. I mean, 2 of them went down now, but they actually did just so much already. And the problem for ShoWTimE is that what's left from the Colossus count is just, you know, the Colossi are still alive, but they didn't do any damage, and there's no support for them anymore. Colossus is going to try and fight this off. Liberator sieging up on top of the base, but the third is going to fall. ShoWTimE, no. Man, these positions are so difficult to deal with. These pushes can get so out of control so quickly. And that's just going to be GG's. Clem is going to go up onto match points. A little bit. Go. It's match points. Needing to bring it back a little bit right now. Our blue Protoss on the upper left-hand side. It is ShoWTimE. We have got the bottom right Red Terran from Team Liquid. This is Clem. Alright, so Clem is on match point. Not just match point, but championship point. He lost out in the lower bracket finals last year. Lost to Denver in a 3-2 series. Denver went on to lose out to QF 4-0 in the finals. This year, Clem has been the player to beat. Nearly lost to QA in the winner bracket, but he stayed alive. He kept it going, and here he is now. Championship point on his side. And looking to be a new OSC champion. Pops up into the main. Just to scout around early. Cybercore on the way up from ShoWTimE. So he's gonna go Cybercore into Nexus. No surprises about the initial build order. Of course, Submarine is a Terran map for its size, right? It's short, it's easy to come across, it's good siege positions down here, over here, into the main. There's a lot of problems that you can run into on this map for sure. So, Clem choosing this one after Oxide. I mean, again, just, yeah, it's also, again, just, especially as the bases continue to come up, a lot of easy pushes into bases, lots of ledges to utilize. And those are things that typically help the Terran. It's not as bad as it is in, say, maybe TvZ. You know, Protoss can use some of those things to their advantage as well. Second Rex in the main. As it's a concussive shell opener, so Clem is actually going to put on a bit of pressure early with the Marauders. What he sometimes likes to do is if he can hide the first Marine and Marauder off to the side, when this Adept shows up, he's going to then bring these units in. Oh, ShoWTimE sees the Marauder. So there's the concussive shells. Will go down. He will get the SCV. Obviously, there's no getting away here with this Adept unless the Shade is in time, which it is not. But yeah, he saw the Marauder, but he was kind of already committed forward. Maybe he could have backed away, but I think he just said, I'm going to go for the SCV and trade out, basically. Timuro's going to into the top side. Hi, this is a pretty cool stat for the OSC Championship. This is the first ever European champion. That's actually a really cool stat, right? That's actually crazy. We've never had a European champion. It was won by Pig for Oceania. It's been won by Neeb for America. It's been won by a bunch of Korean players. First SCV, second SCV. Doesn't quite go down just yet. Wouldn't mind. Is in position. The Oracle gets pushed away. So far, good defense for Clem, who is just up to the 2 racks and a starport on the way. So we'll see some medevac here soon. Some medevac action. Maybe get some bio on the map. Whenever you play this kind of Stargate opener against someone who is going to end up going fast bio, you've always got to be extremely careful. And we see 1 Phoenix on the way. We'll see how many he wants to end up building. I always get a little bit afraid when you're going to start building Phoenix here, because you just really need to make sure you've got the numbers up on the ground to hold off this Bioforce, and that's why I quite like seeing this Immortal as well. But surely you can't afford this Immortal and continue Phoenix and go Colossus. That's going to cost a lot of stuff. Fire comes through. It's going to push the Oracle back to the upper left. Observer flies through the center. Alright, a bit of bio coming up to the top left-hand side. I mean, shield battery number 1's about to finish, and boy, does he need it to make sure he can really just defend against this. Clem's goal here will be to try and bait these units a bit further forward. It's still going to be tough until I think at least the Colossus comes out. I thought we would try and fight here a little bit more. We move in, try and take a couple shots on units. He's going to go for a different direction. Maybe here you can pick up 2 adepts between the bases. Okay, this is going to be maybe the opportunity he's looking for. He's going to get himself a Phoenix kill to start. Battery is going to supercharge on the natural. There's the Colossus popping out. Clem is just going to back away. Pretty cautious play then. Gets a couple of probes between the bases, but not just diving in on anything, just playing this a little bit more slowly. Alright, so far so good. I mean, just putting a bit of pressure on, but ShoWTimE surviving too, so ShoWTimE is able to keep this going. Now, Phoenix continuing up, so he gets up to 3, now 4 Phoenix, and well, I really don't feel like the Phoenix have done much in this game just yet. We'll see if they can make an impact here. A tank lift would be the real kind of MVP play to take that out of the equation. You'll see Clem already splitting a Marauder up, trying to spread the damage if the Colossi start to hit. He's going to leave the Marauders in front. I mean, he's on top of the base. He's going to force a respawn. Second Colossus should be joining the army here in a moment from ShoWTimE. There it is, coming in from the left, and the Marauders going to pick their way through the Nexus. Super Battery goes down to try and heal this up, and here's the big fight. Marines are going to target down the Phoenix, lifting the tanks. So the tanks are going to get brought back into the action. Clem for a moment was just sat back there and not actually committing. He's going to go drop across into the main. The only thing that can really chase into this main base of the Colossi, so he's going to drop as deep into the main as he can get. What does he actually want to focus on here? He's going to go for a couple probes. Now he's going to turn. The Colossus are in some trouble. The Colossus number 1 goes down. As the other units finally show up, Clem is already kind of laid waste, as he's got a Viking that's just picking away at this Colossus as well, by the way. So the other Colossus in some trouble, doesn't really know where to go for the best. One way there's a Viking, the other way there's Marauders, which are now dropping down. The Colossus is going to fall. ShoWTimE scrambling to pull together a defense, but a new tank just showed up as well, so Clem has even more units up on this third base, and he's going to do it. Clem is your OSC Season 8 champion. From the winner bracket, he didn't lose the series along the way. The closest he came to defeat was against Cure, and he is going to be our first ever European OSC champion. 4-1 over ShoWTimE in this best of 7 grand final. Congratulations.